in March, when we were coming back over the Canadian border after our tour had got cut short, I actually had my whole family up there with us, and we were planning on being up there for a couple of weeks. And obviously, as we were coming home, we pretty quickly realized with the pandemic, this was going to be like the last thing to come back, all right? So we're like, well, we're going to have some time on our hands. And we started thinking to ourselves, like, so what hobby are we going to develop? Did anybody develop any hobbies over the last 2 years? Okay, people, I don't know why you're laughing, but so I said to Courtney, I was like, hey, what if we start a hobby? And she's like, okay, all right, well, what is it? And I was like, picture this. We raise cattle. And she was like, I was thinking a little bit different than raising cattle, but okay, so we just set the stage a little bit. We live in the country, and we have a little bit of acreage, and we were like, well, what if we fence a little bit of this acreage, and we raise cattle? And she's like, I'm in, all right, let's do it. And so it's been a wonderful thing to kind of learn, but you got to understand, I had no interest in farming. I didn't grow up with farmers. Nobody thought that there was farmer in me or that I have any potential, okay? And so I did something that was very, very wise, all right? I went to this place called Amazon.com, and I bought a book called Raising Cattle for Tummies. It's a real page-turner, quite like it. And so I literally, I read the whole thing, and I was like, okay. And the truth is, I do have some friends that were helping me, and so we developed a herd, okay? We have 10 cows, all right? And I had some people, I was like, oh, some farmers here. People like cows. I guess most people like beef, that's good. But anyway, so I had some people come to me, and they were like, well, why are you having cows? Like, are they just pets? And I was like, well, I mean, we are living through a pandemic. I mean, if worse comes to worse, I mean, they're Black Angus for a reason, you know what I'm saying? And so they were like, well, whatever you do not name these guys. And I was like, oh, too late. And they were like, well, what are their names? I was like, well, our most successful cow is a cow named Cookies, all right? Cookies produced us the calf of cream, and also produces the calf of half and half. We have Rainbow. Rainbow's done very well for us. She had Sprinkles, all right, and Sparkles. And then we have Princess. And I didn't name many of these, if you can't tell. But we have a bull, because we want our herd to grow, all right? We want our herd to grow. So we have a bull, and his name is Nuts. And but that's just because he's crazy. Goodness gracious. Jeez, folks, what are we doing? And so we have our little herd. And you know what? To be totally honest, and I'm sure there's some farmers in the room and they're like, this guy's such a rookie. I am. I know that. But for the most part, raising cattle, especially when you don't have many like we don't have, in the spring and the summer, I mean, look, the grass grows. They eat the grass. They get fat. You know, it's relatively easy. But it gets a little bit more complicated when you get to fall and winter, all right? And so it was about last Christmas when I had to start getting a little bit more involved, right? I'm giving them food, and we give them a little bit of grain every once in a while, just for a little bit of a treat, so I can bring them in, I call them in, I can check them out and make sure that they're all looking good. And so it was about last Christmas, and I was driving out to check on the cows, and I was just, to be totally honest, I was contemplating Christmas. I was contemplating Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus, and the shepherds. And I get the bucket of grain out, and I go up to the feeding trough, and it was in that moment, right as I throw the grain into the feeding trough, that it hit me. That the Savior of the world, the very first place that the Savior of the world was placed, was in a feeding trough. And the magnitude of the humility and the meekness of that just struck me. When I look at the nativity, I mean, look, they make those mangers look real good these days, you know what I'm saying? But the manger, I've translated that in my head for years as just kind of crib. But the manger is a feeding trough. It is not a pretty place. It's not a clean place. But the Savior of the world came and said, that's the first place I'm gonna be laid. You take the shepherds. The shepherds are fascinating figures. You know, I like the staffs that they have. You know, growing up, I was like, these shepherds, these guys are cool, you know. But shepherds were the outcasts. I mean, there was a reason why they were shepherds. They were not accepted in their villages. They were outside the city halls for a reason. Because these people were outcasts, not accepted, not cool, people that they did not want to be seen with. And yet the angels came to those shepherds and said, oh, we want you to be the first to know that the Savior of the world is just over there. You should go check it out. You're going to find him in a feeding trough, and that's how you're going to know that that's Jesus, the Savior of the world. I mean, is it not just crazy that that's the decisions that were made? And look, I don't know what people's Christmases are like. You know, maybe this Christmas you're like, man, this is going to be the best Christmas of all, and I hope so. And you look forward to it. But for others, maybe you say, man, Christmas is one of the most difficult times of the year. I have to go and visit with people that are difficult to forgive. I have to go visit with people that have hurt me dearly. Maybe this Christmas, you came to this concert and you bought 2 tickets, and that ticket next to you is empty. And somebody that you love dearly isn't here with us anymore. And ma'am, I grieve with you for that, and I mourn that. But if you've ever felt like the outcast, if you've ever felt like somebody that couldn't be loved, if you've ever felt like someone who was rejected from your family, remember the shepherds, the very first people that God said, I'm going to make an announcement to them because those are my people. Those are the people I love, the insignificant, the lowly. And I got to be honest, I feel like those people so often. If you're looking for redemption, hope, love, healing in your life, man, look in that feeding trough. Jesus is the hope of the world of man. If you're looking to be changed, that's where you'll find it. He'll change your life.